Welcome to Breaking Eggs with Seth Shezi. Breaking Eggs is a visual podcast where Seth talks to creative entrepreneurs, designers, seekers, healers, and thought leaders. During these candid and insightful chats, Seth teases out some nuggets from his exceptional guests that are sure to inspire, entertain, and make you go, huh, when you hear their unique methods of pursuing fulfillment.
I am Seth Shezi. Join me every week as I crack open the lives and learnings of some very special guests. We'll be chatting about the 5 golden pillars of a good life: wellness, wealth, love, mindset, and impact. Through these unscripted chats, I'm looking to uncover untold stories, answer some of my own questions, and hopefully leave you with better ones to ask about your life. This week, we're doing things differently. We have partnered with BCC Studios Africa to bring you not one, but 2 guests in one episode. Today, I'll be speaking to Jodi Smith and Saadiq Effendi, stars of the new BBC LIfestyle ListingCapeTown. We're going to talk about their lives, property secrets, as well as their rise to real estate stardom. Let's break. Hi, Jodi.
Hey, Seth. How you doing?
Very good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
I must say, you look incredible.
Thank you.
What are you wearing? What inspired this look?
Well, I just thought, it's a daytime event.
Yeah.
And let's keep it sophisticated. So, yeah, you can't go wrong with a pantsuit, right?
No, this is perfect. So this is how you dress every day?
I like to say I do, but it's not.
But how do you sort of create the balance? Like, for instance, you work with some of the wealthiest clients.
Yes.
So then how do you sort of show up in a way that is very you, but also still sort of on par with what you expected?
All right, so I normally wear a lot of black.
Okay.
And I add a bit
Keep
of bling.
it sophisticated.
Black and bling is normally my go-to.
Yeah.
Obviously, going to appointments, you always need to dress to impress, but you're there to do business. So I like to keep it simple. As long as I'm comfortable and sophisticated, I'm good.
Good. I love the philosophy as well. But you're associated with having worked in film and you're friends with A-listers. Tell me what you do today. What is your job now?
All right. Well, I am a realtor.
Yeah.
I'm focused on the Atlantic seaboard.
Fantastic. In Cape Town. Mm-hmm.
And I do predominantly rentals.
Okay.
However, this year has been very sales-based.
Okay.
And I could say that it's been a direct relation or indirect relation to the show. Okay. Having to exhibit homes for sale has really pushed me into that direction. So I'm very grateful for that.
Brilliant.
And I've been in real estate for the last 4.5 years.
Okay.
Who
are you with?
My mum.
Okay.
She's my partner.
Fantastic.
She's a guru.
Yeah.
And together we really are a dynamic team. She brings the experience, she brings the administrative side of things to the party, and I'm more of the rainmaker. I'm the connector and the networker. The face and the aesthetic
of the brand.
Yeah.
Cool, fantastic. And now working with your mum, how's that?
Well, in the beginning it was quite tedious because obviously training beneath your mum, she was very judgmental. Okay.
But also, Monica is a well-known sort of establishment in the Atlantic seaboard. So I think getting to learn from her must be quite intimidating.
Absolutely. And the thing is, she doesn't hold back. And there's trust. The foundation of our relationship is built on trust. Yeah. So we're very lucky in that sense that we can share everything with one another. And I know that we both have our best interests at heart. So I can count on her and she can count on me, and that's actually what matters at the end with the partnership, right? Okay.
So now you are in the business of putting people into homes.
Yes.
Which is you deal with families and it's a family-oriented thing. And you working with your mom kind of keeps that whole family aspect in part of the philosophy, no?
It does. It often plays in our favor.
Yeah.
We decide, should we tell them now? Should we tell them later? Should we let them guess? It is a very family-orientated space, and as professional as it is, it's personal. So just adding that feminine touch and just knowing more from 2 aspects of the household. The mother symbol or the mother
figure,
exactly, and then be more of a youthful, up and coming entrepreneur, you could say.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do really enjoy that aspect, mum and daughter.
Cool. Now tell me, you referenced the show and how it's brought some change in how you basically run, and from more rental to selling. Tell me about the show. What is the show?
Well,
and don't be modest, because you're a star. This is your moment.
Goodness me, it's also new to me.
Yeah.
Look, we must go back. I know you mentioned that you were asking about my background. So I come from a background of film, which has worked in my favor because I obviously understand how things are kind of put together and what essentially needs to come across for the entertainment of it, and also the knowledgeable side of things. So this show is particularly informative. I love the fact that you really can put the properties in context. Cape Town versus Johannesburg. Just really gaining insight as a viewer into how price relation works, and I find it fascinating when it comes to valuing properties in particular, because there's so many different aspects that you need to keep in mind. Your price per square meter in Cape Town versus Johannesburg is like
completely.
You can't even chalk and cheese. That's definitely that sense. Financial side of things, very interesting. But then from an investment point of view, it allows people to gain insight into potential opportunities. And what works, and also the landscapes in and around Cape Town. You've got your sea views versus your mountain views versus your I like to say your mountainside mansions and your beach bungalows.
Oh yeah, of course.
I like to play on words there.
And I guess at the same time you have to be selling a more of an experiential aspect of it. You can't just sell the property alone. You have to also sell the lifestyle that comes with it. So you have to be someone who's well versed about Cape Town, who gets around in the nicest way possible. To say that. And I know that you are quite on the scene in Cape Town, so you're like the perfect person to show them around and say, cool, here's the house and it's perfect, but also these are the things you can do, and this is how your life can be enriched by moving here.
Absolutely. It's very important that you know your product. And on the show, we feature probably, I'd say, the best properties on the Atlantic seaboard that were on the market at the time.
Are you at liberty to say which ones?
Well, I think it's more of a let's wait and see. However, there are some renowned or world-renowned architects and developers that kind of shine through in their work, particularly those of Sauta.
Of course, Stefan and Tony,
Ingenuity, which is the developers. That they developed the property that I show on the first episode.
Okay, which is?
It's a penthouse on Strand Street. Beautiful 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom.
On 117 on
117 on Strand.
No way.
Yes.
I have a selfish question to ask about that. I am trying to buy on that floor, but obviously the penthouse I think is sold already or
on
something.
The 16th floor?
Yeah, on the 1608. I shouldn't say this out loud because I don't want people to beat me to it.
Beautiful views from there.
Stunning views. And the reason why I want it is because out of all of the ones that are facing Signal Hill, it's the one that's closest to the front that's not sold yet. So you still get a sea view from the roof. But I'm a freelancer, so getting a mortgage has been like a headache.
It's a challenge, but at least you're South African, right?
Yeah, I am.
So it's a whole other challenge. If you're a foreigner, you're self-employed, then mortgage is even more difficult, if not actually non-existent.
Wait, so what's the trick? What should I be doing to get this mortgage?
You've got to prove your income, right?
Yeah. Which I have. Like I've shown them all of my things, and it's still not enough because it's haphazard. So the money is there, and the bank just says, "Cool, it's great that you've earned enough to afford this place now, but we don't know how you will guarantee to keep earning this way." So then, what do I do? Well,
there's many things you could do, but I would recommend that. You work in entertainment, right? You could work that space as a place that you work from, or that you create content from.
So buy it as a business
perhaps,
premises. Okay.
So within a company. Another thing could be that you find an investor that backs your brand and perhaps puts down a large deposit, because if the bigger your deposit, the more favorable the deal is.
Okay.
And shop around. Are you working with a bond originator?
I wasn't, because I was quite hell-bent on getting Investec to get a mortgage, and just because I want to bank with Investec.
Okay.
And I think that might have shot me in the foot. So I probably should have gone with like just, I don't know, shop around everywhere.
Well, what I would recommend is I could actually put you in touch with a bond originator.
Okay.
They work wonders.
What company do you work with?
Better Bond
Okay,
is my
cool.
preference,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
I can only suggest. I can never force
Of course,
buyers or
no.
sellers into that direction.
No, but I'm glad you said that, because after I sort of like gave up on this deal, someone recommended Better Bonds because they were an artist, like a painter, and they got a bond because they helped them along. So I think they do know how to work with people in the creative space.
Great name. And you know, another interesting fact that people don't really consider, often they want to go with their bank.
Yeah.
They've chosen that bank.
Yeah.
That's where they're going with their mortgage. But actually, you'll be surprised that, you know, banks, they surprise you on a daily basis. So, yeah, and they will work out they'll make sure that they investigate each channel, you know, and you will get a bond for sure.
It's amazing. Okay.
Definitely.
Well, now I won't give up. I know the property still hasn't sold, so I might still go back. I was this close to buying a Rolex with the deposit money when they sent it back. So, because I thought that's an investment as well. So now I'm going to keep it and actually go back into it again.
Speaking of investing, the Waterkant is particularly a great place to invest in.
Okay.
When it comes to rate of return on investment, if you'd like to do short-term rentals in particular, it's fantastic. So I would never shy away from investing in the Waterkant, particularly in 117 on Strand, because it's a brand new building. You're centrally located. You've got your 24-hour security. It's beautiful, high quality. Yeah. I mean, I think you should go for it.
Especially like the top floor, the triplex. I mean, where else are you going to find that?
You must come and have a look at that listing. I've got. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Which one? Your one?
Yes.
Has it sold already?
No.
So what number is it?
Sold. It's a sole mandate.
Yeah.
1601.
1601. So and it's a 3-bedroom.
Yes, 3 bedrooms.
How much is it?
3.5 bathrooms. It's on the market for 15.5, but it is negotiable. That is really, it's a state-of-the-art apartment. And
I'll tell my friends about it. I can't afford it. Anything over 5 million, I can't even look at.
I know you're building.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Cool. No, definitely. I'm keen. What else are you listing that you're really proud of, or do you think that actually people should check out?
Oh, I've got a range of listings. My most recent is actually a rental. Okay. It's in this road. It's a couple houses down. I'm not going to give the number. Yeah. But we have just listed it for 200,000 a month. It's absolutely gorgeous. Wow. So that's something that we're showcasing.
It seems like a lot of money, but you are in Bantry Bay. It's the best location. You are sheltered from the wind. You've got ridiculous views. So
north facing.
It's worth it, yeah.
Really is. It's a superb property. And what else have I done? I've just sold one of my babies, I like to call it.
Well done.
A penthouse in Clifton. Oof. Full asking price of 27 million. So, yeah, cash deal. It was fantastic. It took a while to cross the line.
Explains the pearls and the suits and everything like that. You know, you're doing okay.
So, yeah, I could say that.
Am I allowed to ask how old you are?
I'm 31.
And how have you achieved sort of this so quickly at 31? I feel like a lot of people look at it and say, okay, cool, those kind of deals are reserved for people who've been at this for at least like 30 years.
Yeah, it's a good question. You know, I do find I'm grateful every day. Yeah. Let's start there. I work. I really work. I mean, real estate. It seems glamorous, but you know, I don't want to say particularly.
We're going to think it's glamorous when we look at you, and this is all we see. And
look, I'm a diligent worker. I'm tech savvy, so I've put things into place that work for my team and my business as such. You know, a lot of it is online based, which takes a lot of the admin side of things out of it, where I can really then be out there and network. It's all about networking. It's about maintaining those relationships, you know. And I've got a global reach in that a lot of my clients and people that I've worked with in the past, particularly from the industry, in the film industry, have kind of followed through and come forth and are supporting me. And then I've got my mum who's been in the business for so long, so I'm very fortunate in that, you know, she helped me get there quicker, but it's definitely doable. It takes hard work, it takes good negotiation skills, good people skills, and also just and holding yourself as, you know, staying sophisticated. You know, you're dealing with people with a lot of money, and they like to be able to relate to you.
Of course.
So it's very important that You do, like you said, be presentable, be reliable. So yeah.
And I guess for you, having worked in film meant that, being surrounded by the best of the best in everything, going to the best restaurants and going to the best homes, you know how to spot quality. And I think that helps a lot in you being able to identify properties that are worth you taking on and not.
Yeah, definitely. So I was also fortunate enough to grow up in the area that I work in.
That helps.
So, being able to understand what building was there and what is there now, knowing all the street names, knowing every building name, knowing people, knowing faces, knowing staff, knowing the names of dogs. Let me tell you, it's so funny. I go walking on the mountain, I get to know the dogs' names, and then I'll see that dog on the promenade and be like, hey, Frankie. And then the owner's like, wait, hold on. So it's just kind of really familiarizing yourself with the area that you focus on. So that's also been a way that I managed to move myself up in real estate quite quickly.
I can imagine, because if I was a foreigner with truckloads of money to come buy here, I will want to buy from a local, because like I said before, you're not just selling the actual home, you have to sell me the experience.
Exactly.
What do I stand to gain here? And and I think you can offer that in an authentic kind of way, because
it's got to come naturally.
When the people that have owned these homes forever, it's such a personal thing when they have to part with the home and sell it, that they do want to hand it over to you because they know that you'll do it right. And that's how you can get homes to be sold at asking price.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I can see that and I appreciate that. Cool. Now, can we go back a little bit to your childhood? You were born in Joburg, correct?
Wow, you know a lot about me, Seth. I like it. Yes, born in Johannesburg.
And does that give you that spunk? Because I feel like in Cape Town, a lot of people are quite not sleepy, but they're quite sedate and
it's
cool.
It's strange,
and
right?
And you're just quite agile. You're let's do this, and you're ready for action. And does that come from that Joburg
I think so.
Okay.
I honestly, I'm very grateful that I come from Joburg, because there is a specific energy there amongst the people, right?
Yeah.
So I'd say
I always sometimes say it's the real city of South Africa, really.
Definitely, it's authentic.
Yeah,
that's true.
Everything else is just the town.
The difference here between Cape Town and Johannesburg is that here you've got so much magnificence around you, whereas Johannesburg, yes, it's a beautiful place, but it's all about the vibe and your connections, and so you've got to actually put more emphasis into yourself as a person.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's my personal take on it.
I think people take that for granted. I think it's so easy when you can present well and you can dress, fantastically in Italian suit and you're pretty. Then people think that, oh, cool, then the rest of the job is done. But no, you still have to, invest in people. You have to make sure that you care about the people. You initiate connections, because the network that you create is your net worth, because that's who the people you're going to be buying or selling to and buying from you.
Absolutely.
Cool. No, I love that. And so I read somewhere something that you do stunts. And I just don't see it yet.
So as we briefly spoke about, from Johannesburg, moved to Cape Town as a little girl.
Yeah.
Kind of went to school at St. Cyprian's.
Nice.
I actually started out at Weizmann, which is a Jewish school down the road, and then moved to an Anglican school, St. Cyprian's, and matriculated
just going
there.
through all of the denominations.
Yeah, pretty much. It's been great for
it's great
for
diversity.
And also just for knowing different groups of people in the city. So I think my first job, I was 16. My father was a very well-known racing driver. He actually won the South African championships many times.
Yeah.
And he said to me, at school holidays, I'm doing this car shoot, and I think it's time that you come and you start.
Yeah.
And I was too young to drive. Okay. I could kind of reverse cars in and out of place. But I was an auto detailer, so it meant that I had a bloody polishing cloth and spray, and I was shining mags and making sure that the car was camera perfect. And then through that, I've always had a craze for speed and cars. It's definitely one of my hobbies. Yeah. And he said to me,
now I want to know what you drive. But continue.
So and actually, funny enough, I was named after Jodi Scheckter, who was Formula One world champion.
I didn't want to ask that, but I was like, it's too close because your dad being a race car driver. Okay, cool.
So it ran in the blood,
Nice.
I mean, I've watched Formula One since I was a little girl. I watched the MotoGP. I know a lot about cars.
Amazing.
And then I got my driver's license, and my dad said to me, you're a really good parallel parker.
Cool.
And I was like, oh, okay. And I was getting good at
Well,
that.
wait, hang on. Sorry, there's something to take from that. It's like you mentioned earlier that, whatever job you've done, you always just jump into it and make sure you do it to the best ability.
Yeah.
So when you were given the job of like shining the rims or parking, you parked the best you could do.
I did it, hey. I practiced
So that's how you do it. That's how you climb so quickly. You just do whatever you've given, do it well.
Absolutely. Cool, motto in life. So anyway, he said to me, you know what, I want to start training you. Let's do some advanced driving courses. Okay. And as a little girl, he said, watch me now. I'm putting my foot in the clutch, and I'm changing gears, and I'm not letting the steering wheel, jolt. And I said, oh, thanks for that tip. And it kind of stuck in my head. And I was never afraid of speed. Yeah. Anyway, I've since then done a couple jobs where I don't really want to say who the supermodel is because I signed an NDA, but there was somebody who was representing a very well-known German car brand, and they did the launch of this particular car in Cape Town, and they shot the commercial here, and she actually doesn't drive.
And
I'm a driver, so they called me and they said,
is she South African?
No.
Oh, I was going to say Candice Swanepoel.
No, she's big. I mean, not that Candice isn't, but she's from the UK. No. Candice is our star, for sure. But I'm saying
she's done Victoria's Secret. I thought that's pretty big.
The two of them work together. Let's just leave it at that. So anyways, I did some really interesting car tricks.
Crazy. Anyway, I'm trying to guess.
And it's different when you are in front of camera, and there's a whole film crew, and there's a lens right there, and sometimes we had tracking vehicles where they'd have this big camera arm, and you've got to keep distance, like 2 meters distance, while driving on a highway or at night with a helicopter coming over you. There's a lot. It's very exciting. That's kind of what I do on the side hustle.
Okay, so adrenaline at all times. The adrenaline of meeting new people, selling hundreds of millions of houses.
Love it.
And also racing.
Love unpredictability. Love getting lost.
So
love those kind of things.
You could describe yourself as a seeker.
Absolutely.
And so you're always just seeking the next thrill.
Yeah.
What's the next thrill we can expect from Jodi?
Well, good question. I was thinking.
Besides, obviously, being a star of, Listings Cape Town and making sure that it's even bigger than Listings Joburg, because obviously it'll be better because you're in it.
Look, there's a lot in the pipeline when it comes to the brand that I'm building. I have a team at Remax. Okay. It's called Team Hot Prop.
Okay.
And I've got some very exciting things in the pipeline.
Oh, yeah?
So I think that's going to be the next wow factor.
Amazing.
Let's see what comes from that.
Amazing. Brilliant. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a success, and BBC is going to be chasing you for another show.
I hope they do.
Fantastic. Jodi, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I'm looking forward to the show.
It's so awesome.
And I will definitely be hitting you up for more actual advice on buying a home.
Please
especially
do.
because you're listing the building I want to live in.
Please do. I'd love to help. And if you've got any friends, you've got my handle on Instagram, you've got my number.
Oh yeah, give us your handle.
Okay, so I've got two, but my business one is Jodi, Jodi _ hot property _ Cape Town.
You heard it here, hot property. That's Jodi. Okay, buy your properties from Jodi, and looking forward to seeing you on BBC.
Thank you, Seth. Thank you.
Saadiq.
Hi.
Saadiq, hi. How are you?
I'm very well, and you?
I'm excited to meet you.
I'm excited to meet you too.
I've heard great things about you.
Tell me.
You're one of the people that are the standouts from the show.
Wow.
Tell me why. Why are people saying that?
I think because I'm different than most of the other agents. I own my own agency, whereas they are just brokers at other agencies.
Just.
Well, I say that because I started my own brokerage to be the difference in the market.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and I think that...
Is that common within the property landscape in Cape Town for someone to own their own agency, being young?
No.
Okay.
So it's not common, specifically for how old I am as well.
A barrier breaker as well.
Definitely.
Cool. Do you mind me asking how old you are?
I'm 34.
That's young.
Yeah.
To have an agency?
Yes.
Cool. And it's called?
It's called Lion Lead Real Estate.
Why Lion Lead?
So I believe the lion is the king of the jungle.
Yeah.
And I'm there to dominate this jungle. So.
Cool. How long have you had your company now?
So we'll be 3 on the 1st of July. So just over 2 years.
How does it feel on top?
Let me tell you, it was really tough setting up a business during, like COVID. We started just before COVID, and we managed to pull through. And I believe we're only growing from strength to strength.
So you started in 2019 or 2020 itself?
2019.
Okay, and so then what did it take for you to set it up from scratch?
I would say that because I was a great real estate agent and I could pull the deals, I had to learn things as you're busy building a plane, as they say. You literally launching a business and you literally building the wings and the engines as you're going along. And I must say building a business is trial and error. 100%.
What made you think you wanted to take on that responsibility? Because I think for a lot of agents, part of the safety and the comfort is being part of an agency that's established, because that's how you get your leads. And for you, young and wanting to strike out, and you're selling in Cape Town, in the city center, where race aside, it is still a predominantly like white base. So then how was that? Were there any challenges related to that?
I was really successful at my previous agency. And I believe that I figured out sort of like the way in which to make money, and differently. So remember, real estate is a traditional business model. And I believe that it was changing, and we needed younger blood in the industry and a different way of doing it. So traditional real estate is that you sit on show house on a Sunday and you hope and pray that people came through. Whereas I believe that it became more social and used social platforms to elevate my personal brand.
Okay.
When I left that company, I had built such a strong brand for myself that it catapulted me. Obviously, I had to spend a little bit more money in terms of promoting my new company. But because I like I say, built my personal brand, people already knew me in my market, and I had built trust. And that is why my brand made it through on the Atlantic seaboard.
Now, I imagine the fact that when you were starting your business during a pandemic, there was a bit of a dip in the property sector. Now, how did that affect your company? Because you're new, you're starting out. Yes, you've built this flourishing personal brand, but now the actual market that you're entering into is plummeting. How did that affect your business?
So it mostly affected the sales, because we could not do viewings at all, and also the rental market. But during the time that we were in the pandemic and we were under lockdown, we had a rental portfolio. And the rental portfolio is, I would say, in a way, for most real estate businesses, the backbone of a business. Okay. So we were receiving rental income. Luckily, we weren't hugely affected by people not paying rent. Of course, and that helped sustain us during the pandemic.
Amazing. Now, after the pandemic, I'm assuming now we're like seeing signs of the post-pandemic era. Has there been sort of like a huge influx of now suddenly deals coming left, right, and center? Is now Lionhead basically just like balling out of control?
No. I wish. So what happened is after the lift was banded with, the ban was lifted. Was off, that people could go and view homes. There was a huge surge in people wanting to buy, but it was very short-lived. And as with natural things, there was a huge surge, and then it disappeared.
Were there a lot of sales that came out of that time?
There was.
Or was a lot of it voyeuristic? Okay.
I think when you tell somebody that they can't do something, they want to do it more, I guess. And
is that why estate agents always look at you as if you can't afford a place when you walk in? They're trying to make sure that you have to then now buy it to prove that you can afford it.
I think our jobs are to verify people, and you would say that yes, people say that, but it's more of running around with people that can actually afford it, because often we do run around with window shoppers, and often it's a waste of time. So it's important that we verify our clients from a social security point of view, of people coming through these homes, and then also verifying if they actually have the money, whether it's cash or through bond, to make sure that we're running around with people that we're actually going to close deals, because we're not tour guides.
Of course, yeah. Now, tell me, like, do you actually have to do an extensive amount of research on the potential buyers?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
take me through that process. How
so
do you...
somebody inquires, and these days most people are on social media or on LinkedIn.
Are people buying 200 million houses also on social media?
Not from social media,
I mean,
but
except Kim Kardashian, she can afford that house and
no,
she'll
for
be
sure.
on social media. But like, I'm assuming like an owner of a bank or something like that.
You will never believe there will always be some kind of like article or somewhere where they were mentioned. So it's important that, Google is one of the areas that you would go and try and find them. And something will pop up regarding the client. I mean, if somebody has 200 million, they must have invented some kind of company or being associated with something. There are also other ways that we can verify clients by searching on different programs. If they are interested in buying from their companies, and it's often, maybe their emails, those are signs. So you go and check the back of the email, right? Which company are they working for? What do they do there? Yeah. And that's how we verify. One of the things we do as well is ask them for a copy of their passport. Okay. It's just like eliminating small little things that, again, checking the, security.
You don't want to waste your time as well.
No, not at all. Okay. It's just, we often spend, like I said, way too much time running around with clients that are wasting time.
Yeah. Now, your stronghold of the properties that you sell or lease are in the Atlantic Seaboard.
That's correct.
Okay. Is this one of your properties?
This is one of the properties. It is available to rent per night.
How much is that?
I'm not really sure. The rates change all the time.
Range?
I would say about between 40 and 50,000 rand a night.
Goodness. That's not as bad as it.
Yeah. But it comes with all the bells and whistles, and if you wanted extras and chefs and, like whatever you want could be arranged for you. Yeah. That's the types of villas that are for rent on the Atlantic Seaboard. You can literally get anything with a house that you want. And obviously it comes at a premium. Yeah. And that is what Cape Town actually has to offer, like the best of the best. And so a home like this would often go for like a massive family or a couple of friends.
How many bedrooms does this have?
So there's about 8 bedrooms, yeah. Okay. So 8 bedrooms, and all of them are en suite, which is amazing. And there's so much space in this house specifically. So, like if you are on holiday with your family, like everybody can have their own sort of privacy. This house is very calm and tranquil as well. Yeah. And if you want to go out, to the beach, it's like just not too far away from here. So that's really cool.
Although if I lived here, I probably wouldn't want to go to the beach. I just want to stare at it.
Exactly.
It's just, I would never leave the house. I've been to this house for a party before. Oh. And what I liked about it was how many different nooks and spaces you can go into. Exactly. So like, it was a huge party and not everyone knew each other. So these little groups formed everywhere, which was really cool. Yes. Like if it was my house, I'd want to come home and like see little groups sitting everywhere. It's quite
crazy.
Nice. Yeah. Cool. And do you find that like for you, being young, I mean, were you born in the Atlantic Seaboard?
No, I was actually born in the southern suburbs. I went to school there as well. And I'd made my way through working in the HR industry. Okay. I was working for hotels, and then the last company where I was working in HR was called Madam Zingara.
Cool. Oh, I know them. They're huge.
Yes. So I was actually moved from the southern suburbs to Hermanus. I was the HR manager there. Then came back to Cape Town, wanted to be back in, like the Cape. I'm a city boy. Yeah. And I moved to De Waterkant. And I've been here ever since. I then quit in human resources. Yeah. A friend offered me an opportunity to be in real estate. Yeah. And I went to go and work at a company for 6 months. And after 6 months, I was actually headhunted by a bigger company. Okay. Where that company, I really made my mark in the real estate industry.
Especially in the Atlantic Seaboard.
100%.
Do you ever find that a lot of people from the southern suburbs are curious specifically to find out how you basically got into? Because it is quite a niche place to get into. And usually people who actually end up working here are people who were born here or raised here, who grew up around here. So I'm sure there's a whole host of people from the southern suburbs who are keen to actually work here as well, because I don't think it matters where you really came from. If you're passionate about something, you can learn and you can thrive at it. You're an example. So what would you say to those people?
100% agree with you. Let me tell you, the biggest thing that has come through time with me in being in human resources or in real estate, you need to have extreme discipline and commitment and passion for what you do. People can see right through you no matter what. You can say, I want to be the best, but if you are not showing and portraying those behaviors, people won't be attracted to you or do business with you. I think the most important thing as well, again, my motto is to be authentic in what you do, in what you say. Do your work honestly and properly. People will see that, and that is why I think that I've been really successful, is that people are attracted to that. People want, when I do business, I will share every single piece of information about the property, no matter how good or bad the news is. I will tell you as it is, rather than withhold it, because transparency and honesty and integrity is what people actually buy.
Amazing. I love the part where you say, being authentic and showing up as yourself, because like I see you and I look at you and I think that you couldn't be more authentically you. It's like, there's a typical idea of what you think, a realtor looks like.
Yes.
And you don't look like that.
Wow,
I mean, you're here in like, would this be an army green or an olive green?
I love it. It's army. I was going for the army look.
Yeah, it's amazing, because it's like you're suiting up for like, going not to war per se, but like you're literally showing up proper. Yes. And you've got your signet ring, and I think I spotted like a Louis Vuitton belt.
Thank you. Yes,
And your hair is done up. So like, tell me about how you present yourself. How much is that a factor into how you basically show up for your work?
It plays a huge factor. So, I mean, showing up and looking the best is very important in your job. When your client sees you, your client will see how you put together. And for me personally, I'm all about details. So, and it shows in my work, in the way I dress, in the way I do everything. I strive for perfection, but I've changed that from perfection to quality. So I believe in extreme quality. Perfection is like finite, where I believe quality is a level. You can always improve the level of quality in something. Yeah.
Cool. Now, I promise soon I'll stop talking about your personal image, but I look at your skin and think it's really good. Do you get facials a lot?
I do. So in my job, I'm selling with my face all the time. I mean, I make sure that my teeth...
I hope everyone heard that. You should say that slower. In my job, I sell with my face a lot. I do.
So, I'm selling my face. I'm selling you a whole package.
All of this.
Exactly. So it's like, have my teeth done, have Botox. I have.
Nice.
Yeah.
Where do you go?
So Frank in the Waterkant.
Okay.
So I have chemical peels. I have Botox. I have my teeth whitened.
Nice.
The thing is, like, we are in a very competitive market on the Atlantic seaboard. The best and the top agents in the country, we are competing. So I just make sure I look my best at all times.
So when you say that the best agents are in Cape Town, does that mean the listings Cape Town is going to beat listings Johannesburg?
I really do think so.
Oh yeah.
Can I tell you, I just saw the promo video and it gave me goosebumps.
Just because you love how you look in it.
It wasn't even about how I looked. I think it's just like what Cape Town has to offer. Cape Town's like Hollywood compared to Joburg.
Yeah. It's better than Hollywood.
I think so.
Yeah, completely.
100%.
Cool. And the process of you filming the show, have you ever been on a show before?
I was on it was a Afrikaans show, but it was also regarding property.
Okay.
And I think I was on the show for like 5 seconds, where I had to chat about Greenpoint at the time. I was working at my previous company.
Yeah.
And I tried to speak Afrikaans, but God help myself, I couldn't.
Yeah.
So I just spoke in English, and they did like a small little stint. But this show was me showing off property, and I really got to show or show on the show the best of what Cape Town has to offer.
Yeah. And what can we expect on the show? Like the duality of having you and the properties. I'm assuming it's going to be one incredible outfit and an incredible house each show.
Yeah. So I think that on the different episodes, you will see different types of buyers that I work with. In terms of, I mean, I'm good at showing homes, penthouses, apartments, and the different kind of life that you want to live. I mean, it's just from one extreme to the other, like from 100 million rand home to a 10 million rand penthouse, as an example.
No, when I was talking to Jodi before, I was saying that you guys don't actually just sell the houses that people get to live in alone. You also have to sell the lifestyle that comes with it.
We do.
You know, because it's like you were saying, you know, even if you have this house which has everything, you still would want to go to the beach because it's right there. You want to hike, you want to do other things. So you have to be well versed on the surroundings and sell that as part of the experience.
So important.
So knowing the right, you know, Botox doctor is probably quite important.
I was actually chatting to one of the other media people earlier, and we were talking about, you know, the fact that we get to meet the owners of the house. They interview us in terms of who they want us to list. And so that's why networking, and remember I was telling you about trust, is so important. Because if you sell a house like this, the word of mouth will get out on the street very quickly, and they will trust you to sell their home. That's what I'm saying. There's a very close knit of people in Cape Town where owners will trust to sell their very, very expensive homes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why for me, I still feel like we should probably expand more on how could you basically, I don't know, encourage or give someone a little like hint of how could they, if they don't come from this area, how is it possible to get, because you're an example of that, and everyone's going to think that you're probably an exception and you just got lucky or whatever it is. And we have exceptions, you know, freak of natures and people who are just like geniuses. But you believe that if you did it, someone else could do it as well.
100% believe that anybody can do it.
And what is that key thing? That
it came into belief in myself. I believe in myself and what I do. And I don't let you know, the noise cloud my thoughts in terms of what I do. I think even now that I started my own company is the fact that I don't look left and I don't look right. I only focus on what I need to focus on, and focus on, and that's been my success.
And where does that come from? Like, do you grow up in it? Was it instilled in you from your parents, or?
I think we, specifically in real estate, where I figured that out was the fact that when I started in real estate, I was the friendly HR practitioner that came into the industry and went to go and introduce myself to my competition, and they were like, what are you doing? And I realized very quickly what kind of game I'm playing. And so I realized, like, they are not going to help me become successful. I need to focus on myself and focus on my business. And I'm always open to sharing and doing business with other agents. So yeah, I would rather wait for them to come to me than me go to them.
Okay. What is the thing that is, would you say, is the biggest misnomer or people get wrong about the property game in Cape Town?
So I would say that a lot of people confuse us with second-hand car salesmen. I actually dislike that saying so much. People undervalue what a real estate agent actually does. At the end of the day, for me, it's about, you know, like again, I told you about honesty and integrity. If a seller discloses everything about the property and you as an agent disclose it to a buyer, then you won't have problems. But it's often when people withhold information that it becomes, you know, like a terrible thing for a sale, during a sale. And I would say that.
Do you know stories of where things have backfired?
So it's often when, you know, through compliance that, you know, people don't do the right thing, or, you know, there was damp issues in the house, and the thing is, as an agent, you're only trying to do your job by facilitating a sale between a willing buyer and a willing seller. And we often get dragged into all these, like, back and forth.
Cool, yeah.
And our job is to make sure that the sale is smooth sailing. From the beginning to the end. And let me tell you, it's not always smooth sailing.
Yeah. I mean, I had a bit of an experience. I was trying to, which funny enough, is a building that Jodi's listing in at 117 on Strand.
Oh, wow.
And the property that I wanted is still available, but I couldn't get a mortgage because I'm a freelancer. And I needed to basically prove everything and the blood sample and everything to try and prove, because my financials were not enough. They needed to be audited, and I needed to prove future earnings and things like that. And in the end, I actually got tired of the process. The process wasn't done, but I just was like, oh, fine, I'm opting out of this, and like, give me back my deposit and stuff. And do you have a sort of any particular advice that you could say, well, freelancers, how do you get away with things? Because my banker even told me that they would have given the mortgage to someone who earned a quarter of what I earn, if only they because they have a salary, they have an actual, pay slip. And I just feel like, well, then what do we do as entrepreneurs?
So yeah, I feel your pain on that level as well. I've bought several apartments through the bank and have been treated the same way. Unfortunately, in South Africa, freelancers and entrepreneurs are not seen as favorable by the bank. Even if you earn a salary, they want RP5s, IT34s, all these kind of things. And I really think they should look into, providing credit for entrepreneurs.
Yeah. And is that something that's in the works? I mean, knowing you from...
No.
Okay.
No. So like I say, anybody that earns commission, we are seen less favorable because they only take 60% of your income as actual income. Because it's variable.
But even then, surely there should be then better information. And I guess then we need you guys to be the ones that educate us to say, listen, because you're an entrepreneur, you just have to cut everything down to 60%. And I guess that advice would come from someone like you.
So, that's unfortunately out of our, realm of what we do. We work with the best mortgage originators to try and fight for us on behalf of us. I tried through my personal banker, it didn't work. It was when I went through an originator that fought for me to get my bond.
Do you have any particular ones that you favor, that you recommend?
So Uber is definitely a great mortgage originator. Like I say, those, just like we are help to get you the home, they literally, will fight to get you a bond with the different banks. They shop around for you for the best interest rate and to actually get you a mortgage.
Now, last question. How valuable do you think it is for a real estate agent to be, educated and have a formal qualification? Because, I understand that yourself and Jodi both have degrees in this. So, how much do you think it's worth, or can you actually just go into it?
Sure, definitely. So, I have my NQ4 and my NQ5, and I think it's very important that, a lease and an offer to purchase is quite straightforward. All the terms are there, you can read it, it's plain and simple English. Where the degree or the knowledge
simple
of...
and plain English if you're a real estate agent. I've read reams of that paper and I was like, I don't understand whether this house is being given to me or I'm giving it to them, but I get, it's confusing.
No, I hear you. And it's often long and tedious, but it's all there to protect the seller and the buyer.
Yeah, well, if the seller understood or the buyer understood Italian or Latin, because some of the clauses are in Latin, I'm like, why?
They are.
Why?
So they're trying to remove that a lot. Most of the attorneys are trying to remove the Latin from offer to purchase to make it more simple. But like I say, where real estate information, specifically the NQ4, NQ5 that we study, comes into play is when things actually go wrong. So it's about understanding breach, understanding what your rights are, understanding what the legislation says about property that comes into play. And yes, we get loads of advice from our attorneys, but it's important that you understand the information and where to look or seek for help when things go wrong.
Okay. So I guess then having that qualification just makes you feel like you have a seat at the table rather than being fed the information.
100%.
Now, right now, where should we be looking to buy if you're a person who might not have 200 million, but you have a few millions? Where could you buy that is in your books?
I would say for myself right now, or to people out there, the Woodstock Salt River Observatory area.
Okay.
And also like that whole corridor that goes right through to like Voortrekker Road, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Is become like a hotspot. And I think
is that
also
because Amazon is building there?
No, I think it's the transport route from the city to Belleville, and they're looking to upgrade that entire node. So a lot of developers are buying up buildings along sort of Victoria Road and that Albert Road, yes. And so eventually, the streets will become high streets on the transport route. If I was to invest right now, I would go for Upper Woodstock, and I would buy and flip homes there. I have done some flipping before, and let me tell you, you can make some serious cash.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that.
Yes, so I believe that is the way for people to make money.
Yeah,
I'm big on empowering people to empower themselves, and I believe that I would love to find opportunities for people to buy under market value.
Yeah. But how do you find out if a property is under market value? Like for you, as my realtor, if I come to you and you've listed a place, would you tell me that this place is actually listed under?
Definitely.
Really?
Can I give you an example of one? So one of my colleagues brought a property to me of a seller that wanted to get out of the market.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's called distressed sales.
Okay.
So the guy bought it for 1.5 million, finished the property, and he wanted to sell it for 900,000.
Why?
He just wanted his cash out of the property.
Oh, I see.
So I put in an offer for 900,000, and he accepted it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Clearly, those offers don't come around.
Let me tell you, we are sitting with a couple of those.
Okay, I'm going to give you my card after this.
Yes.
Please let me know. And I like those numbers you're talking about.
Yes.
If we can find things around the hundreds.
So
let
me tell you about this investment. So think about it like this. 900,000, I put down 90,000. My bond is of 810,000.
Wow.
So my repayment was 6,000.
Yeah.
I'm getting 7,900 rent.
No, yeah. Sign me up.
Yeah.
Any day. Today.
100%.
Like you've got to sell. If you can find me one of those deals, I'll do it. And I don't even need to live in the place. So it could even be in Pinelands.
Exactly.
I'll
find it for you.
I love Pinelands, by the way. You mentioned that like Voortrekker area that was going to turn into the streets. Okay. Like if you're mentioning the streets, you look like the guy who loves being on the streets.
I do.
So give me your final rundown of like where the best places to find yourself in Cape Town. Where would you go out and stuff?
Okay, great. So I love the Sea Point Strip.
Yeah.
The restaurants and all like high street Sea Point. Love the markets, Oraniusag markets. The waterfront. I think the waterfront is like my favorite place to hang out.
I think having travel around the world, it's still, as a mall, it's still one of the best malls you're going to find.
Agreed.
It doesn't feel like a shopping mall, yeah.
And then because I live in Waterkant, like I'm always running around in the cobble streets there.
Amazing.
There's loads of street
The
foods.
charm, and
My groceries, my car wash, my haircuts, everything. I go to yoga there too.
Sure.
The Waterkant is like one of the best places to live in Cape Town.
I love the fact that you live the lifestyle of the people you sell to, because it makes it all so authentic and beautiful.
And that's what I'm all about, is authenticity.
And I'm hoping that I'll get to see a lot more of that on Listings Cape Town.
I'm excited to show you.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you for your time.
I'll chat to you soon about those deals.
Great stuff.
Hi, I'm Jodi Smith,
I'm Saadiq Effendi
and you're watching Breaking Eggs
with Seth Shezi.
Thank you for listening. Catch us next week for another episode of Breaking Eggs with Seth Shezi. In the meantime, don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave us a review. We would love to hear from you. Until then, let's break.